Good evening to you, my friends, and thank you for joining us on this wild show we're going to have on for tonight. This is On Campus, where we talk about what's trending on the net. I'm your ever flamboyant, refreshingly humorous host, Christopher Reynolds, and I'm feeling very excited about tonight's show. Joining me tonight on the couch are my co-hosts. It is my proud honor to introduce the ever perky, the ever informative, and ever lovely Fatima Edamani. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I'm fabulous. And sitting next to her, we have the ever studious, the ever low-keyed, and majorly chilled Richie Brown. Hey, what's up, dude?
What's up?
All right. So we have a crazy show in line for you guys tonight. First, we're heading to South Carolina, caught on tape. Another police-involved fatal shooting. Authorities in South Carolina released the dash cam footage in connection with the Walter Scott shooting. The video shows Officer Slager pulling over Scott. Scott briefly gets out of his car, but goes back in after an exchange with Slager. Moments later, Scott leaves again and runs away. The dash cam doesn't show the rest of the incident. Slager was charged with murder on Tuesday after a video surfaced of him fatally shooting Scott as he ran away. So the question is there an uprising of more, police brutality, or is this just a matter of like, well, now that there's media, now that there's more attention to it, more of it's being brought to light? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of both. I definitely think the media has a lot to do with it. Otherwise, how would we know? But then I also think there's definitely an increase in police brutality. There actually was an article in USA Today saying that there was an increase about, there was like a 66% increase since 9/11, which I think is crazy. And what's so interesting about this is that, Oscar Grant happened New Year's Eve of '08, which was here in the Bay Area at Fruitvale Station. Everyone remembers Michael Brown. It's still very recent, still going on in Ferguson in August, and now this. So it's just very interesting to see how 3 different stories and 3 different experiences has really shaped what's going on. And yeah, there was a tweet about it as well. Richie, you can go ahead and get into that.
All right, I guess. Well, Michael McGuire says, police shooting in North Charleston gets more disgusting every day. Time for the redneck, good old boy Southern cop to be a thing of the past.
Now, the one thing, too, not necessarily about the tweet here, but as I was reading, it says that, the camera on his dash didn't show what happened after he ran away. And then they say how it surfaced, another video surfaced of him actually shooting. So it's like it's a matter of, there's more media, people have cameras, people are able to record and, tell what's happening. And so, and I just lost my thought again.
I think that's like the big thing, that all of us have our cell phones on us and we all have the video. So like if we see anything wrong, we just have it.
Exactly, and you report what's happening. Whereas now, it's like in our news broadcast last night, we were talking about how policemen are also going to be having these cameras on, which are going to be going like, 24/7, reporting everything that's happening. So that it's not just a matter of their word of, what's happening, what they say.
Right, and I think, to piggyback off that, I think this will be a good way to show, or at least a step in the right direction, to stop unlawful deaths. Cops obviously have a duty to protect, but if they're not protecting and they're causing more harm than good, then there's obviously something going on. But going off of that, let's go into the next story that we have, which is about Silicon Valley. There's a huge victory for big tech giants in Silicon Valley, and Susie actually sheds some light on the most watched sex discrimination lawsuit in the Valley. Take a look.
These accusations are the topics of Ellen Paul's gender discrimination lawsuit. The fact that Ellen Paul lost her case has sparked discussions on sexism in Silicon Valley.
Sexism does exist. You go to hire somebody, and the people that we hire are the people that we want to spend time with, and most likely the people most like ourselves. So if you're a man, a white male, the people you are going to be most attracted to working with are white males like you. And then it goes time to promote them. Who is in the office? It's the white male. Men who asked for flex time at work to deal with childcare matters were seen as heroes and were commended. And women asking for the same flex time had the opposite reaction.
Is the shortage of female top executives a result of gender discrimination, or a clash of personalities, or different perspectives on life?
I don't want to live in a world where someone else makes the world a better place, better than we do.
No one knows the correct answer. This is Susie Howe reporting from Silicon Valley for OnCampus News.
All right, awesome. So we definitely just saw what was going on. It's a huge case. Ellen Pao, who's the interim CEO of Reddit, and she's a lawyer. So it's very interesting to see someone who is so high in power, who is still experiencing something that happens every day. And sexism is very apparent now. It's, you know, it always has been, but like us being more involved in the media, a lot more people are sharing their experiences and saying what's going on. So I think although she may have not won, it's definitely making noise, and it's definitely creating discussion to hopefully, potentially, eventually make something better between the gender relations in the workforce.
The hard, cold truth of it is, even though we pretend it's not there, things are getting better, but it's like it still exists. It's still there, and we still have to deal with it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and she also, I forgot, someone in our class earlier was saying how she is trying to create more equality with wages because a lot of people in Silicon Valley who are engineers tend to be male dominated. It's a male dominated field, and in Silicon Valley it's all tech related. So a lot of men do end up getting those positions, do end up getting higher wages than women who may not have as much experience, or for whatever the case may be. So another thing about Ellen Pao is that she's also creating this, and I think it's great, and I hope that one day we bridge the gap between gender discrimination. But I think for her to bring it up and talk about it, it's definitely creating discussion, and people are definitely looking into it.
Okay.
Awesome. So
on a lighter note.
Yeah. So on a lighter note, some of you may remember the artist who is taking social media by storm, who is Fancy. And we know and have finally been introduced to who he is. Here's Richie with more.
All right, thanks, teams.
No worries.
All right, one of the biggest reveals in music this year happened this week. Check this out.
Our next guest has been blowing up the airwaves with their hit single, Goodbye, but their identity has remained a mystery until right now. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Who is Fancy?
All right, well, a couple weeks ago, we had a story asking the question, who is Fancy? And we finally know who he is. Jimmy Fallon had Fancy on his show, and he came out as Nashville singer Jake Haygood. The big reveal happened in a huge theatrical way. On stage, he had a diverse crowd that lip-synced and pretended to be him. He had us on edge every time the camera switched to the next person. I know for every person shown, I thought it was finally Fancy, and I'm glad to know who he is. Well, I think he's about to come up soon. Fatima, do you think that's him?
I don't think so. I think he's lip syncing.
That one's lip syncing.
Ooh, I don't think it's her
he's
either.
like about 2 or 3 after this one.
Is that it? Is that
Nope.
him?
I don't know.
One more,
Maybe.
one more.
He's feeling himself.
And that's him.
Yay!
That's Fancy.
All right. Well,
And so they were saying that he has the same director or manager as Bieber.
yeah, Scooter
Is that right?
Braun. That's who it is. I think he's on skyrocket up on the charts. with it once he releases more songs, more singles, and
So
gets
yeah,
out
I
there.
guess he's new, and they really built him up, and made this, big, I don't know, thing about him. So
Yeah, and definitely it's getting a lot of good. It's getting a lot of
Publicity.
good not criticism, but it's getting a lot of good attention. And on Twitter, Bonnie Mason said, "Okay, I just watched your performance on Jimmy Fallon. You are not only a great singer, but are adorable. It's nice to see you." Hashtag who is fancy. So he's definitely, I love the way he did it, because artists now like Sia and Daft Punk and him are just few of the artists that really just take it back to the music. And even on his Instagram, I can pull that up on my iPad. You can see here, like, this is how he looks, which is awesome. And he has a picture with him and Jimmy. And he also tweets out to, or Instagram says all his fans, basically just thanking them for support and for letting him experiment something new that's never been really done before. So like you were saying, I totally think he'll, one day have the success of Justin Bieber. I mean, Bieber's been around for almost 10 years now, so he
Yeah.
has a lot of time to like get up to him, but he's definitely doing really good progress for now. So him going on Jimmy and finally showing like who he is and that he's just a normal guy is very empowering. So yeah.
I think they have like the same concept for like The Voice, like hidden. And once people like heard his music, heard
put a
who
little
he is.
mystery into it. It's like
Yeah.
everyone's like on the edge of their seats, like, who is this person?
All right, so Chris, go ahead.
All right, then, it's time for a break. But I promise you it won't be too long, so stick around and see which of your favorite TV shows is coming back next week. All that and more after the break.
We cannot approve the loan until your wife goes back to work. I'm sorry.
Housing discrimination isn't always obvious or straightforward, but it is against the law. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, protects your rights to equal opportunity in housing.
If you've experienced housing discrimination, HUD can help. They can pursue compensation for your injuries and protect your equal opportunity to housing free of discrimination.
See, I told you it wouldn't be too long. Let's get right into it. Fatima, you're a barista. What's Starbucks up to now?
It's barista, but I would love to share what's going on in the coffee world. So Starbucks is in the news
I'm not
again,
Spanish.
and no, this time it isn't about the failed Race Together campaign. So here's actually a commercial that Starbucks put out, and CEO Howard Schultz announced that the coffee franchise and Arizona State University, which is an online school, are expanding their partnership. Last year, Starbucks and ASU offered all eligible part-time and full-time Starbucks employees a full tuition for students qualified as juniors and seniors. Fast forward to now, the corporate academic partnership will now work together to offer full tuition for any undergraduate degree offered at ASU's online program. So before I get into it, I definitely want to share some tweets first. There's been a lot of hype about this with the recent change. So Arnie Duncan says, at Starbucks and at ASU, both have visionary leaders. When good people get together, great things happen. And then the next one is, thank you, ASU and Starbucks. Now I feel even more special. And this person, Sheena, is actually a partner. So they sent her a little, you could see here, they sent her a little Arizona State pin and brought her into the college, a Starbucks College Achievement Program team. So that's awesome. And then just two more tweets. One was from Senator John McCain, and he says, congrats to Starbucks and ASU on expanding their innovative partnership, which I think was awesome. And then E News, which is an entertainment website. This is amazing. Starbucks is going to pay for all of its employees to go to college.
So they're going to pay for all their employees to go to college. But the question is, I mean, it's like, what are the requirements? Do you have to work there for like so many years? Is it part-time, full-time? Who can apply for this?
Yeah, so That's a great questions. So anyone is eligible who is a partner. So anyone who is a full-time or part-time employee, you just have to work at least 20 hours a week, and then you're eligible from the day you get hired, and you can start. But the only thing is you have to be at Starbucks the entire time, otherwise you won't get the free tuition. And what's interesting is Howard Schultz is the first in his family to graduate from college, and now look at him. He owns all of Starbucks, so he's very passionate about this. Education is really important to him because it did really well for him. But do you have anything to chime in on?
Is it only online, or is people that live in the area able to actually go to ASU and enjoy that amazing school?
It's strictly online because you have to work as well, and online is very flexible for baristas.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Say it one more time. Baristas?
It's a barista.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty. So I don't know about you, but my phone's battery life normally sucks. I literally have to charge it like every day, every second of the day, and it always gets on my nerves. So Chris, during the break, you mentioned something about a new cell phone, like battery life?
Yes, I did.
What's that about?
Okay, well, researchers at Stanford University made a new type of battery that could charge your phone in a minute or less. Not only does this aluminum ion battery can be charged 7,500 times, much faster than the current batteries that only charge 1,000 times before losing their capacity. These batteries are non-flammable and are safer for the environment than alkaline aluminum batteries. Don't have as much power as the lithium ions, but future versions will have enough juice to charge up an electric car and store energy on the grid. Whoa. So that sounds amazing.
Imagine your phone's like lasting 7 times longer, like the battery, like even just having it for like 6 months, like the battery just half it. But I think we have a tweet from Sean Dury. All right. Could this battery be the key to finally getting off fossil fuels? Like, could it, Fatima? Do you think so?
I think with enough technology and enough advancements, anything's possible. This is definitely a step in the right direction. Aluminum is a lot easier it's a lot better for the environment. It's not as destructive as what we use now. It's a lot easier to recycle.
More
so
natural.
it's definitely, it's natural, yes. And I think Stanford's doing great. These professors are doing great. And
the one point that I was thinking of earlier, okay, someone was saying that it's not, combustible, it's not going to blow up. But if you put enough power to charge up a car battery into something small that's not made to handle that much power, it's like, something's going to backfire somewhere along the way, or, it's going to backfire in your face. But he says it's not going to
backfire. Are they making it to handle the power?
Yes, so I was looking at their study from that Stanford reported, and previous experiences with aluminum batteries which were developed at laboratories usually die after just 100 charges, but this one actually goes for 7,500 charging cycles. So that's huge. That's a lot. So
huge.
That's, yeah. So the more you're able to use one specific thing, the less you're gonna constantly have to reuse and rebuy. And so yeah, I think it's great.
That does sound great. Well, folks, Hollywood is again running out of fresh ideas and looking to another video game for movies, inspiration. Here's Richie with more.
All right. Warner Brothers has picked up the rights to the popular indie video game series Five Nights at Freddy's and wants to produce a film adaptation. For those who don't know, the game takes place in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is basically a Chuck E. Cheese in hell, where you play a night watch security guard, and the animatronic animal band that the place has comes to life and is trying to kill you. The feature-length film will be produced by Roy Lee of Vertigo Entertainment, who also did The Ring, an upcoming Poltergeist remake, and David Katzenberg of Catsmith Productions, who also is going to work on Beetlejuice 2. It also looks like Scott Cawthon, the creator of the game series, will be involved in making the film as well. I actually have a quote from the creator saying, "The story really lends itself to being a movie, and it taps into a largely unexplored niche of horror that a lot of people will be able to relate to. So what do you guys think of this film, or like video game slash film going on?
Yeah, I think it's refreshing, and we actually have a tweet also on the big screen. And Steven says, a year ago, Five Nights at Freddy wasn't even a thing. A year later, it has had 2 sequels, and now Warner Brothers has the movie rights. Hashtag what? And I think that's awesome. You know, a lot of movies, there's like, it's like half, like it's literally down the middle. There are some movies that are hits, which like Mortal Kombat and Lara Croft, and then there's some that are flops, like Street Fighter and Super Mario, like Super Smash Bros, Super Mario Bros.
Street Fighter's a flop?
Yes, and so it's interesting for them to have so much like faith in this game, which is like this indie underground game, which doesn't have a lot of hype, to make it something more.
True. Now, I have not actually seen this movie, but
It's
I
a
was
game.
fun. Yeah, or the game, exactly. But the one thing about it is that, you know, in most other horror games, you know, you're trying to escape from something or to fight the monster. But in this one, it's like you're stuck in the game. It's a matter of you've got to wait it out to survive. If
Yeah,
that
it's
makes any
definitely it's
sense.
like its own idea, which like, yeah, the whole like point is like not for you to be like going through dungeons, going like finding the enemy. It's just like, oh, the crazy robots are about to kill me. I need to shine my flashlight and like.
And it's freaky Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, all the animatronics.
But all right, so if you're not really feeling that movie, no worries. Here's Chris with some cool TV shows coming back starting on Sunday.
All right, this is a big week for the TV bingers and couch potatoes to go crazy in front of their TV sets and have a good reason to do it. To start off this week's not to miss TV list, let's start with the Game of Thrones. Now based on the various trailers I've seen, this season is going to be the biggest, most elaborate one yet. We're expecting a lot of stories and deep plots in the 7th season. So, okay, once again, multitask. Here's our boink. There we go.
And the gods demand justice.
Clean this city out so the rats have nowhere left to hide.
I am a queen, not a butcher.
All rulers are the butchers or meat.
Next on our not to miss list this week is Silicon Valley. Now, Silicon Valley is an American television sitcom. It's the story of 6 men in Silicon Valley who whose startups strike it rich in their own garage. Silicon Valley delivered a rookie season that earned rave reviews as well as Emmy and Golden Globe nominations. But now comes the critical juncture, a second season that has creators Mike Judge and the company feeling the pressure to live up to the expectations of not just the casual viewers, but the hard-to-please techies who criticize their every moves. And the third show on our not-to-miss list is The Comedians, starring Billy Crystal and Josh Gad. This mockumentary-style series about the making of sketch shows starring who else but the two of them themselves. And let me jump to that one. Take it away. Oh, okay. As we can see, Now, we also have some tweets. Let's look at this. It says, you are obsessed with the Game of Thrones when you see the word Butterfinger and you think it says Littlefinger, Game of Thrones, hashtag. And let's move on to our next tweet. Watch the first 2 episodes of Silicon Valley last night. What a blast. Bless HBO for this. Thanks.
Awesome. So I'm super excited to start watching The Comedians. I've never seen it before. And I think, like, Josh Gad's hilarious. I will forever love him as Olaf. Forever. So I'm super stoked. And we actually have a tweet from Kyle saying, looking forward to checking out the premiere of hashtag The Comedians in 5 minutes. Looks like a fun show with a hilarious cast. So I don't know about you guys, but Sunday Fun Day is in full force for me. And yeah, it's actually really interesting because I really feel like Game of Thrones is going to be the biggest hit this year. Just last year, or just last season, the debut was at 4.4 million, which is unheard of.
How much?
4.4 million people watched.
Wow.
And I'm going to be one of those people on Sunday. So it'll be 4 point, whatever. But yeah, so is there any specific show you guys are looking into, like, that you're interested in watching on Sunday?
I'm trying to catch up on the previous seasons of Game of Thrones before I can watch this one. But
Same
I'm really
thing
hyped.
here, because I'm stoked about it.
I think
the key word being stoked.
Yeah, and Billy Crystal's looking old. Like, going back to the comedians,
Yes.
like.
I remember, I know I'm telling my age here, but I remember him way back in the 70s on a TV show called Soap. You have no idea what that is, do you?
No.
Never heard
Never
of it.
mind, telling my age. Well, folks, that's all for us this week. So be sure to join us here, same time, same place. From all of us here at On Campus, I'm Chris Reynolds. Good night and good net.